Thanks for having me. I can't speak on behalf of the entire Ottawa community tonight, but I can certainly speak on behalf of the 1,000+ emotional messages of gratitude, support, and concern I've received from parents, including those of handicapped students regarding safety, female Muslim students regarding private hijab removal, teachers that have asked to remain anonymous due to fear of consequence at their schools, female and male students, law enforcement, and human rights activists. These emotions leave an impact, and I tell you this because it's important to me that you understand that I'm coming to you tonight from a place of sincerity and empathy, not hostility, bigotry, transphobia, or any of the other labels that have been hurled my way. And make no mistake, there have been repercussions in my personal life from it. The current bathroom inclusion policy allows for anyone to self-identify at any point in time and immediately gain access to these unsupervised bathrooms and change rooms. To pretend that this policy isn't being or cannot be abused for ulterior motives, and to ask parents in this community to ignore that fact and simply accept the policy as is without discussion is a lot to ask. All community members, gay, straight, trans, non-binary, we all make up the population, and there are individuals among us with bad intentions, with mental illnesses, and with a lack of judgment, all of whom could easily take advantage of a policy like this as they see fit. I have had accounts from parents who had incidents that have left their daughters feeling unsafe and their personal space violated. To ask parents to accept this added risk the policy adds without being involved is a tremendous overstep. Unfortunately, the issue of safety is looking even worse than I originally realized, as I've had teachers who have reached out to me to let me know that in their own union has gone so far as to advise them to not even go into the bathrooms for their own safety. From drug deals being witnessed, underage sex, violence, intimidation, vaping. I'm told many students avoid even going to the bathroom out of fear. This has to end. Even custodians have complained that the few gender-neutral private bathrooms that we do have are the most vandalized and the most abused and the most graffiti. All of this, along with the ever-so-wise decision to remove police from the schools to assist in dealing with these issues, may have amplified the severity of bathroom safety. We now have an already unsafe environment being made worse by providing any male unsupervised access to female bathrooms for whatever purposes. Anyone with their shred of common sense can plainly see this is not about reversing trans rights to be included in society. It's about schools not being equipped to accommodate these rights fairly as outlined in the Ontario Human Rights Code, because it means choosing one group's rights over the rest of the population's rights and safety, and that is actually against the code. All students and families of students should feel physically and emotionally safe. If that sounds familiar to the board, it's because it's the first line written in your policy handbook. So in conclusion, I'd like to say the only way to abide by the current version of the Ontario Human Rights Code and also solve most, if not all, of the other appalling safety problems in the bathrooms that predate this policy is for most or all of the bathrooms to be retrofitted with open concept, walk-in main common areas, sinks and mirrors down the middle, fully enclosed, lockable stalls down the sides. No more entry doors. Where an entry door is now, an opening can be installed. With this layout, even security cameras can be installed in the hallway facing an opening to monitor the common areas. This layout alleviates pretty much all of the concerns that any reasonable person may have. As a school board, you can advocate for this on behalf of your community to the province, and you can alleviate one of the most divisive, concerning, and sharp situations our school community has come across. I would encourage all parents in this community to write their trustee with their concerns or ideas, or better yet, book yourselves as a delegate, come up here and say your piece. There are more issues to deal with, and we have to get involved. After all, these are your children, and you pay for everything in this room. Thank you. I'm happy to take questions.
I learned when I went to public school that when you're public speaking, you should try and imagine your audience. I don't know if you remember that lesson or not. These days, I imagine standing up in front of a room like this, like a panel of judges with their hands hovering over a big red button, so that if I say something wrong, a hole might open up in the floor and I might disappear. This is the world that we live in today. I'm here to talk about the hierarchy of human rights in Canada and the most sacred right that we have in a democracy, and that's freedom of expression. Freedom of expression is Article 2 of the Charter of Rights and Freedom, guarantees free speech. And people will rightly say that there are limits to free speech. However, it seems discriminatory is not a valid way for a state actor to silence an individual citizen speaking to the government, which you are. Now, the right to free expression underpins democracy because it gives us that right to criticize the government. And we're not just seeing this here in Ottawa, we're seeing it at school boards all across the country. School boards don't want to hear what parents have to say and hear the concerns that they have. And it's creating a tremendous amount of animosity. The other thing that we're seeing is the liberal use of defamation, which is actually a limited speech. We can't incite violence. We can't incite hatred. We can't tell lies and make up stories about people and mischaracterize them in the public sphere. This is a custom actually that goes back, I'm going to say 4,000 to 5,000 years. Thou shalt not bear false witness. And I say that not as someone of religion, because that law underpins the three major religions of the world and just about every culture in the world. Lies and defamation in the public sphere undermine trust and they destroy society. They undermine the trust of the person making the false allegations or the group making the false allegations, and they undermine the people in the community. It destroys societies. It's considered a sin. Many people consider it evil. Now, there are conflicting human rights, as Mr. Morabito pointed out, and it is the obligation of the board creating policies based on a policy created by the Ontario Human Rights Commission, not a law, but a policy that says those conflicting human rights have to be addressed in a meaningful way. And I'm deeply concerned, not just at this school board, but other school boards in the country, that the liberal use of that cancel button is quite frightening in a democracy. It is actually a threat to our democratic institutions. In 2012, we had the Gender Expression Inclusion in the Ontario Human Rights Code, and that protects us in 4 areas. It protects us all from discrimination. Those 4 areas, sorry, it's 5. It's contracts, employment, services, associations. Someone will tell me the other one. To make a claim that a violation of human rights happened when someone is raising concerns about a conflict of human rights is preposterous. And I believe that the board owes Mr. Morabito a sincere written apology, not just for silencing him on March the 7th, but defaming him in the newspaper on March the 8th. This is not the conduct of a professional body. It brings disrepute to our democratic institutions and to this board. And I believe the board has to act to ensure that this does not happen again.